So this transcendent polysynth went up in smoke again. You'll have seen it before. You'll have remembered it went up in smoke the first time, and that's because, luckily, it was quite an obvious thing. Well, and there was quite a few things wrong with it, but the reason it was going up was in smoke was the all of the tantalum capacitors that were a little bit naff that came with the actual Powertran kit, and they were, I think they were rated for 16 volts, and then it's powered by 15 volts. I think it was a bit close to the rating, and they go kapoofy, and they go up in smoke, and that's what happened the first time. But it went up in smoke a couple of months back, and just haven't got around to fixing it. Always got a few things, but now working on the analog, the obsolete sound lab, got to kind of get the synths fixed. So New Year's resolution, lots of synthy fixies. So I found the problem last time. It was quite easy to find. Let's have a closer look. I've just got to remember where the fudge it is. So the problem this time was pretty easy to find. As you can see right there, there was something that went up in smoke. It's now gone. I've pulled it out. I didn't have a replacement chip for it. It was a 741, which, if memory serves me correct, I think that's an operational amplifier. It's near the power supply, so I think it's to do with something to do with the negative supply line. But we'll double check. So the 741. Oh no, that's that board. Get through it. This is just a printout, by the way. This was dangling next to the synth, initially intended to be used to be read whilst it's being played, but oh, this looks like the power supply. So if I see 2, you've got to find it on the circuit board. Oh, here we go. So IC, that's IC2. Oh, what? Okay. So yeah, it's an op amp, but the op amp's used in the negative supply line. Okay, so it's a similar circuit, power supply circuit to a lot of older ones, much like the Foreman as well. It's using a very similar circuit to the Foreman and such. So this has gone pop, but why has it gone pop? That's the question. And it's probably something on the negative 15 volts line. Is it 15 volts? I've got to remember. So we're going to have to swap that IC socket. It's absolute mushed, which is a bit annoying because that means we've got to pull this whole board out. And yeah, it's only going to take a few times to be pulled out because it's got a lot of permanent ribbon cables onto it. I've already taken it out once. It's got to come out again. There were people asking for scans of it also. I probably won't be able to do a scan, but I'm going to get a good shot from above of the underside of this board because people were asking for a shot of the underside. This is mainly the bus board. It's got the power supply here. I think the portamento. Strangely enough, the sliding circuits, the portamento circuits, are down here. I'm having a feeling that I haven't replaced all of the tantalums. Maybe there's a tantalum there, or also it could have been a problem from when the tantalums were replaced, which tied it out a bit, and then it only took a little bit of a moment for it to get a bit more kerfuffled. I have a feeling on the back of this board right here, which is the power line, I seem to remember looking in the schematic that there is some power going to it, minus 15 volts, and then there's also some circuitry on the back of this, which is all of the potentiometers that for the controls. Likewise, I could have put one in backwards, but I don't know whether that would actually cause a problem. I don't think it would. First thing I'm going to do is just literally replace it, IC socket, and then put one of the 741s in and just see what happens, because I think I've replaced them all. I'm pretty damn sure they're all gone, and it might have just been a hang-up problem from when it was running, because it hadn't been running for a massively long amount of time since it was repaired. It was, you know, the first time it had been left on for more than, you know, 3 or 4 hours. So it had been left on for a few hours. So, so yeah. Anyway, let's get these out. Oh, that's the voice board, if you remember. The voice card. So I can't remember exactly what the problems were, but I'm gonna put new numbers on them because it's the different numbers now because I was swapping around. A bunch of these had a bunch of different problems. A few different chips had gone, but it could also be a chip. I'm going to turn it on with the voice cards not in when we put it on first. If it goes up in smoke, we know something's up. But yeah, could also put in another power supply line. So if it does burn up the first time, then I think it might be having to put another power supply line into it seeing what's going on and work back there. But the first thing I'm going to do, because I've got a few of these 741s, is just pop one in and see what happens. But first we've got to swap that that IC socket because it's absolutely mushed. It's mullered. There. Look. Right, so first let's get a decent image of the back of the board. That's 4K goodness. Hopefully that's helpful. So that's only the power supply, the portamento, and the buses. The buses. Yeah, obviously, as you can see, these all get joined together. And then the different parameters are up here, kind of like you can see them running off. But everything else is shared. The big fat ones are the power supplies. I think it's -15, ground, +15. And then it goes all over. You'll see all the wires. It goes all over to this, which connects to the expansion port, which has got another 4 of these. The driver board, which is this one, has got enough circuitry to drive, well, twice as many as this because it's got made for an expansion as well. So technically you could clone one of these, clone this, oh that would be amazing, clone that and have 8 voices. Ooh baby. I'll link the video if you haven't seen it before below on this actual synth. So, ooh, god damn. Last one. Ooh! That one's being a bit sticky. Right, that should in theory. Remember which way it's pointing. Okay, that just came out. Okay, there we go. So that's the IC socket. That's definitely melted sufficiently. Didn't think that through. Oh baby! Right, so, okay, right, we'll put this back. Put in a 741, but without the voice cards. And then we can immediately deduct the voice cards from being the problem. I've got to be honest, I much prefer making things than fixing things. That's definitely my bag, but let's see if that works. Flicking on. Okay, so the power's coming in. Just got to see if it's going to start smoking. Let's get the multimeter. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, there's no voltage coming through on the... It could be one of the power... It could be the power transistor downstream. But the only way to really find out is to plug one in, see what happens, because 15 volts is sending something out. Zero's obviously 0. Minus is 1.5 volts. So I've unplugged everything from the power supply, so if anything's going to go wrong, it's going to go, it will show us that it's something in the power supply, but only way to do it is to really, oh no. Okay, so the 741, which is here, goes directly into these 2 transistors and then goes out and sends out -15. When both of these transistors were connected to the board, the op amp was getting hot and 6 was giving out nothing, which is the output. So what I did was I removed both of these legs from the circuit board, just lifted them up. As you can see, this one's still lifted up. And yeah, it started giving output on this. So it means that the problem is likely downstream one of these. So I put this one back in, the problem's still occurring. So it's Q3, which is the tip 30A, which annoyingly, oh no, oh, I just saw it. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. Please. Oh, right, let's get it replaced. I'm blooming hoping that I haven't already replaced it. And did I get this because... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Well, I'm going to replace it and see what happens, but this might have died again because I seem to remember I replaced this before I found a couple of other popped capacitors, so that could be the issue, or you know, oh dear. Oh well, let's swap it and see what happens. Oh, that thermal grease is a bit old. Oh, so it needed a shake up. Oh dear. One thing that I really need to do before putting this all back together is giving it a hoovering, because there's random bits and bobs just sitting about. Right, so, way -15, it was the tip 30, but which is a bit concerning because I had replaced the tip 30 before. I still haven't put in the other transistor, which is going to give a bit more current and such, so it might be that. That might be the problem, but the issue is I don't have one of these, which is annoying, so I'm going to try and find an equivalent of a BC212. So we're going to look at replacing the BC212 anyway. Apparently it is just a general purpose PNP transistor, so it could be replaced with a 2M3906. So I'm just writing the pinouts. Pinouts of the 2M3906. I'm just writing them down here, just so. So if I get a 2M3906, we could probably plonk one in there. So the pinout is slightly different. So it's one is the same, and then swap these two. So just make a little bit of a wiggly, and it should fit in the same footprint, just a bit more wiggly. Just trying to get it in there without all the legs touching. Let's get that soldered. Right, let's see what happens. And try and keep this in shot whilst I flip the power on over here. Hey, 15.2. So I'm just going to bring it, try and adjust it. Oh, well, it might change under load, to be honest. I'm going to leave it until we put it under load. Let's just watch and see what happens when we put it under load. Right, okay, so yes, looking at the schematics, so all of these tiny tantalums as well, the little brown little blobs, they're ticking time bombs as well, and I wasn't aware of it. So going to replace all of those, and hopefully that solves it. So yeah, so it's these little brown tantalums right here that need to be replaced now. In the video I replaced all of the bigger blue ones, the 10 microfarad, but it seems the 1 microfarad ones, I wasn't aware that they were on the power lines for the oscillators, so they've got to change. And yeah, the ones on these, even though they're working, ticking time bombs, so may as well get those replaced. So here we go, a job I should have probably done in the first time, but it works, so I didn't really question it, but then they all went kerfuffle anyway. I wasn't aware that these were actually acting as filters on the power as well, nearest to the chips and whatnot. I swapped them with electrolytic capacitors, their counterparts right there. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. A lot of designs that are very similar to this don't even have big capacitors where they are in the circuit anyway, so technically could have done without even adding, just removing them and leaving it as it was, but I figured may as well just put it in. So let's see if this does any better. 15 volts, nothing's plugged in. Let's start putting them in and see what happens. We'll do them one by one so we get an idea. If we know there's definitely a problem, then we can get to the bottom of it. So 1, 15, phew. Okay, where's number 2? That's number 2. Yeah, number 2. Turn it on. Bloomin' hope. Number 3. This was the problem one last time. This is where it went pop last time. Oh, bloomin' hope. So, yes, yes. Okay, we're in luck. And one more. And hopefully this is the problem sorted. Okay, that's all working. So right, yeah. Okay, so now the analog side is sort of working. It's still not functioning. Having a look on this side, which has a separate power supply, there's a 7805 voltage regulator, and we put it on the output of that, it comes up with zilch. What I'm going to do first, even though it has been said that this has been replaced, I'm going to replace that. I'm going to replace the voltage regulator and have a look then. This is all on the, so both of these have separate power supplies coming from different windings on the actual transformer up there. So yeah, going to do that. I'm pretty sure I didn't swap it. Oh yeah, no, that's Dubilier, and then these are ones that I got. Okay, we'll use this. We'll use this one. Right, get this, and then also a 7805. Oh my god, no, I haven't run out of 7805s, have I? No, 7805. Boom. Pop that on there. Get the 7805 on the regulator. Right, so we've got 5 volts here, we've got plus and minus 15 volts here, everything is happy, and with any luck it should be all. Oh, it already sounds like it's alright. Oh, yes. However, there is another issue. We've got another issue, and this is going to be in a part 2 in the next couple of days. The problem is, and I forgot about this, it started developing it in, I can't remember. So it worked for quite a while, and then it started going downhill. Basically, it started acting a little bit unreliably. Now, I think the unreliable working functioning of it is down to the tantalum capacitors. And then what happened also is the second voice channel sounds like the resonance voltage control possibly is messed up. Something to do with the filter is going up. Because, oh no, maybe not. Yeah. So something is up with the filter. It might be simple, it might not be. So there's going to be a part 2 where we're going to look at the second voice card, because there's obviously something wrong with that. But for now, we can have the other ones running. That's in monophonic mode. Obviously, we've got one of these missing now, so we've only got voice channel 1, 3 and 4. So we can go to 2 channels, two sets of voices, so they get split into 2. The only downside is one of them only has 1 voice and the other one has 2 voices. So since when I got this going, I think it was April or something at the start of the year, it took about a month initially to do it, and there was a few problems with that. Maybe it wasn't a month, maybe it was about 2 weeks. The link to the first video on this is below. Since then, this is a roundup. I think what's happened is basically the tantalum capacitors, the small ones that I didn't think were going to be a problem, turned out to be a problem. Over time, as it had been turned on, those caused the tip 30A power transistors to fail, and that ended up initially being okay. It just started getting hot. I think it was probably driving to one of them was starting to fail in the third synth card, third you know, voice card, and I think then that finally gave up the goat, which ended up taking the 741 op amp with it, and then that's when we started smelling the smoke. That's when the smoke started coming up, was from the 741, so I was replacing that. So yeah, it was about a problem that caused a problem that caused a problem. And yeah, there was a problem that started developing itself. I noticed it starting to get worse, and that is for the second card. After it had been on for quite a while, it started doing that. So in the next video, maybe even tomorrow or something, we're going to look at the second card, try and get that fixed, because obviously we need to fix all of the synths and get more of them going and stuff for the obsolete sound lab. So this is going to be a bit more work. I thought we were going to get it finished today, but I remembered the problem with the second sound card. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow. Maybe. Definitely. Yeah, tomorrow. Anyway, have a lovely time, and I'll see you soon.